that it's live. And for those of you who are the teacher's pets in the classroom, you know what you need to do. You need to share, you need to like, you need to follow, you need to tag, because we are going to expand our love and kindness. So if you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Facebook, please tell your friends that it's time to join us in the classroom, because we have the founder of Life Best Inside, Orly Wahba, in the classroom. So let me go ahead and start the recording, because if I don't start the recording now, I'll be told, start the recording. Okay, so today we have Orly Wahba. She is when I think of the word kindness, I think of Orly. Every time when you say be kind, or if you just hear the word kindness, Orly, she's the one. She should have the picture of Orly should be in the dictionary when it says kindness. So if you haven't seen Kindness Boomerang, I posted it in our blog so that all of you have access to this video that's been viewed so many times. And so today we're going to talk about how to create kindness in a world full of social distancing and fear. So fasten your seatbelt, because we're going to learn and grow together. It's time to dance, Orly.
Yes.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be. I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my viewing and listening friends. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, with all of you, a quarantine, and we're talking worldwide quarantine. This has never been done before. And so many things beyond COVID-19, beyond the coronavirus, many people are feeling the side effects of isolation. They're feeling the side effects of lack of touch, feeling the side effects of uncertainty. And so who else? Who else other than Orly Wahba, the founder of Life Best Inside, the creator of the Gone Wild video called Kindness Boomerang, author of the book called Kindness Boomerang. I said, as a matter of fact, Robert, if you can get the book for me, that would be great, because I want to show it off. I've got it in a special place in my house. You got it. There you go. There you go. And so Orly is here to share how we can give us tips and how we can create kindness in a world full of isolation and fear. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that Orly Wahba is here to do just that. Welcome, Orly, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show classroom.
Lillian, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. As you know, I have a deep love for you. I think that you're spectacular, and the energy that you share out with the world is very much contagious. So I'm so glad to be here.
Well, thank you for that. And also I want to say and acknowledge you. for sharing, taking time. I know how busy you are, for taking time to acknowledge me on my anniversary video. That was so sweet of you. Thank you.
Of course, 100%.
Anyway, I just wanted to just share a little bit about your background and what prompted this love for kindness and this awareness within you.
100%. So just a bit about my background. I'm actually from Brooklyn, New York, but I'm currently living in Jerusalem. I was just telling Lillian before the show that I moved here just 2 months ago, right before the pandemic really broke out to its maximum peak. And it's been really incredible living here. I'm loving it. About my background, I was actually a middle school educator for 7 incredible life transforming years. And about 9 years ago, I cannot believe it's that many years ago already, I took a leap of faith and decided to leave my job to pursue a bigger dream I had in my heart ever since I was a little kid. And that was a dream to bring people together through the power of kindness and empower people to recognize and understand that who they are matters, that the choices that we make matter. And if we recognize that the choices that we make matter, we're more likely to make better choices. And so I started a nonprofit organization called Life Best Inside, whose mission is to inspire, empower, and educate people of all backgrounds to lead a life of kindness. But the essence, the core, the real juice of this organization is all based on the word empower, empowering each and every one of you to recognize that who we are matters, makes a difference, that we're all unique and significant, and each of us plays a role. We're all a piece of the puzzle in our very own way. And it's been a very, very exciting venture, starting back then with the Kindness Boomerang film that you mentioned went viral, moving on to creating a global event called Dance for Kindness, which is in its essence is a leadership training program, empowering people that want to create positive change, how to actually do that within their community by teaching both the practical and also the theory, as well as the practice of how to make that happen. And we create this amazing event called Dance for Kindness that takes place in over 50 countries, 120 cities, to Project Hope Exchange that provides messages of hope for people that are going through a difficulty within their own lives, and so much more. But it was only possible because of the people that have joined me in this journey. And my journey began ever since I was a little kid. Like I mentioned, there was a passion I had in my heart, knowing that I was put here in this world to bring kindness into this world, to infuse the world with kindness. I didn't know how, I didn't know what, but I knew that it pained me. And I didn't understand where animosity came from, differences between race and religion, ethnicity, where this animosity came from. And I felt that I was meant to be a part of bringing that together. But as a kid growing up, I was extremely shy. And I was often told no a lot, or made fun of for, my idealistic views. Oh, you're so naive. Oh, you think that you're going to change anybody. And it was difficult, but it was a part of me. And when something is your calling, you can't ignore it. And even if it's difficult, you can't ignore it. And a very big shift happened in my life in my sophomore year. I would say that this was the transformational point in my entire life that really changed the trajectory of my life. The greatest thing, yet also at the time, seemed like the hardest thing and the worst thing that happened to me. Which oftentimes in our lives, that's exactly how it comes into play. And I fell into a very, very dark depression after a fire took my house and we lost everything, my family. It was 6 years that my family was moving from place to place until we all lived under the same roof. But it was one of those years where everything that could go wrong went wrong. And when you said it can't get worse, it got worse. And my dad had lost his business, and one thing after the next. And I am a very positive person, so I wanted to be strong for my family. My friends, I couldn't really speak to them about it. I hid my feelings from them. But at the end of the day, it ended up eating me up from inside out. And I fell into a very scary place. When I say suicidal dark, that's how dark it was. And I didn't want to continue. I was home from school for several months. And being home from school for several months, not one person called. Not one person came to visit. And to be honest, I think that hurt me much more than the fire. It made me feel like if I wasn't here tomorrow, would it make a difference? Would anybody know? Would anybody even care? And it felt like the answer was no. And I was a person that I really loved people. And so it felt like that wasn't reciprocated. I felt invisible. I was home for several months, and after being forced to go back to school and not being the same kid at all, being a loner kid in the corner, didn't want to talk, didn't want to learn, and I was very studious. I didn't want to do anything. One day, as I was getting ready to go to school and I was washing up, and I was looking at myself in the mirror, but you know, when really looking at yourself, really just staring at myself in the eyes, and I didn't see that 4-year-old kid with those dreams of changing the world looking back at me. And that honestly scared me. It made me feel like, what happened? How am I going to pick myself back up? I've let so much go. And I made a promise to myself. And I think, you know, Lillian, the promises that we make to ourselves, they have a very deep impact. And I promised myself to be there for people the way that I wish somebody would have been there for me. And more than that, to see people the way I wish somebody would have seen me. And that's really what my entire journey has been about, helping people feel seen and being there when they feel like no one else is there. And it was through those couple of years until my senior year of going alone through high school, walking alone, where it gave me the opportunity to fall in love with me for me. And in my senior year, when I was on a seminar, the teacher was talking about obstacles. I did something I never did before. I raised my hand and I had something to contribute. And then afterwards, these kids that I used to be so intimidated from, I used to be super intimidated from them, were coming to me and asking me for advice. And that's when I learned the secret. And the secret was that the more I gave, the more I began to heal. And the more I gave, the more I healed. And I recognized and realized the power of giving from a place of abundance, not giving from weakness or sacrifice, but giving from abundance of understanding my value as an individual, and then being able to give just like a candle can light so many others and still retain its strength. Mm-hmm. And that's the idea. Because the way to really infuse kindness into this world, it's not just about telling people to be kind. We all know that. It's about turning the mirror on themselves and getting them to love who they are. The minute you can love you and recognize that you matter, then you realize that your choices matter. And then suddenly you're making better choices. And that's the key to all of it.
I love it. I love your story. And some of the things that have stuck out. First of all, I didn't realize we started our journey of growth at the same time, our leap of faith. As you know, the classroom began in 9 years ago. And we share a shyness that I had forgotten that we shared. That shyness. And I wonder if that shyness comes from I'm not enough.
100%.
From the moment that we're born, those messages are sent that maybe we inherit from our DNA, from our family, from whatever's happening in the womb when we're being developed. And that shyness, and when you go around the table and you say something about yourself that nobody knows, I'll say I'm painfully shy. And everybody who knows me, who thinks they know me, break into laughter.
Wow, I can't believe it.
Yeah, no, you're not shy. Well, there is a shy little girl still in me. And, to be able to have a platform, to be able to speak your truth is very empowering, not only for you, for me, but also to the world, for people who know or maybe feel the same way that we do. The only thing that I want to, this gnawing, this calling that you have, that you feel that unless you do it, you're not being true. That you're being called to this, and you had to trust in your intuition. You had to trust that you were enough. But is that not enoughness still, as you go through your journey, still kind of like sneak up on you?
So I'll tell you, that's a great question. And the honest truth is, I don't know a person in this world who that not enough feeling doesn't sneak upon. I mean, I don't care who you might be following. That's like, they seem like they have everything together. They're super confident. That has nothing to do with it. Getting your confidence, building your confidence, or feeling that you're enough, it's not like it's not a game that you beat and then I got it. I have the confidence. I'm good for the rest of my life. We're good to go. No.
I breathe once. I don't need to breathe again, right?
It's a constant thing. It's a constant thing because different points in our lives, there are ups, there are downs. And there are reasons why we get into those, I would say, those funks, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But everybody has insecurities. Everybody questions their value. Everybody questions whether they make a difference. And sometimes when we compare ourselves with others, we can look at others, we can look at their successes. For example, it's like the common thing, right? They're looking at somebody else doing the same thing as them. And they started maybe later than them. I don't get it. How did they're doing this and doing that? And how come it's not happening for me? When we start comparing ourselves with others, it's a very, very dangerous slope, because what we have to realize is every person in this world came into this world with a purpose. You, okay, have a purpose that is different from me, that is different from the next guy. No matter what I'm going to do, no matter what I try to do, I will never take your place. It is locked in. Okay, it's not like there's only a certain amount of spot, and if you don't get in, then you're locked out. No, I always compare it to a puzzle. Okay, you have different shapes and different colors, but every single piece is the same size. Every piece has a place. Maybe one is in the corner, one is in the middle, one is there, one is there. But without your piece, the puzzle's not complete. It's not complete. So instead of comparing ourselves to another individual, we need to compare ourselves to ourselves. I always tell the story of two people that are going away on vacation. You know, one guy is going somewhere warm. The other one is going somewhere cold. Okay. And they're both packing their suitcases. And, you know, the guy that's going to a warm destination, he's bringing his flip-flops and his sunscreen and his bathing suit and shorts and all these other things. The other guy is going somewhere cold. He has his jacket and his earmuffs and the scarf. Now imagine if each of them looked and said, I want what that guy has. I love that jacket. It looks amazing. I want that. I want that. How come I don't have that? But we are all set on a different destination. We're going somewhere else. And so the skills or the things that we have in our suitcase, instead of looking at another guy's suitcase, open your suitcase. You have one. What's in there? How can you perfect that? Look at that. And don't forget to also look at your wins. Look at the things that you have done that have been successful. Because if you're only going to look at the gap between where you are and where you want to be, it's so large, it's going to squash you. And it's going to make you so intimidated to even try. But if instead you create these milestones and you're looking back and recognizing all that you've done and all that you've brought, it helps. Okay. And I say it helps because just because you do that and just because it's easy to say that doesn't mean that doesn't happen to people. Something that the truth is, I don't think I've shared this with people publicly, but I don't mind sharing. A few months ago, okay, so in December, I was in Jerusalem. I left to go to speaking engagements I had overseas. And I ended up in the US, okay? And I was supposed to just be in the US for about a month, and I was gonna be doing all my paperwork to come and get my citizenship here and come back. Turns out it ended up being 3 months. What a lot of people don't know is for a good portion of the time that I was there, I would say at least a month and a half, I was really down. I'm telling you this, okay? And I was in bed most of the day.
Wow.
And very, very down. Okay, now that doesn't mean that there's a reason why I'm sharing this.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm at a point where so much has come together. There's so much goodness happening around. But everybody has those moments. And I was questioning, even though I know, okay, and I can say, it's one thing to say, but what we have to realize, and that's what got me through, is me knowing this, knowing that there are ups and downs, and everybody goes through this. Everybody does. And sometimes those lows that you have, those times when you're just like, I don't know what's going on in life. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. Am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? Those moments is sometimes where the most growth happens. And it's because we do a different kind of work. It's very similar to what I'm talking about, the work that's happening right now in the world, okay, with the virus. You know, it's easy to do this work. It's easy. I don't mean that it's easy. I mean, okay, it's difficult work or physical labor. That's one kind of work, okay? That might be a work of the mind, a work of the body, but there's a different work. There's a work of the heart. And that is a work that is the hardest work to do. And it is the one that we procrastinate the most on because it's easy. Because you know why it's easy? We get so busy with the work of the mind and the work of the body. Very, very busy, right? And so we forget about that inner work. But that's a hard work because it requires us to look inward to ourselves, and to ask difficult questions, to look in the mirror to determine who we are and who we want to be, not in terms of the job that we have and the fame or the followers. Well, nonsense in terms of who we are as a person. And that's hard to do. And what this pandemic has done, okay, and again, I'm not saying that the pandemic is great. There are people dying, there are people suffering, there's a lot of pain happening. But what it's forced us to do is something we never would have done had it not forced us into the corner. It's forcing us to look and to do more of that inner work, because there's a quietness, there's a stillness. And so we're forced to do that. If we allow ourselves to go through that painful process of doing that work hard, that heart and hard work, it's amazing where we can end up. And that's what those few months were for me back when I was home. They were really difficult. I'm telling you, Lillian, I was like really just, I didn't know. A friend of mine, I was talking to her yesterday, she goes, Orly, the amount of energy you have now, all the things you do, it's crazy. I remember you a couple months ago, because she was like one of the people, my best friend, she knew how bad of a place I was in. She's like, isn't that amazing? I said, I have to tell you, it really is. And I knew it was gonna come to an end, but when you're in it, you don't think that it's gonna end. You just think it's gonna be there always. So everybody has it.
Wow.
And it's okay to be there. It's not okay to stay, it's okay to be there and let yourself go through the motion, okay? And to be able to pick yourself back up afterwards.
Not allowing you to stay there is the key. Not allowing, several things come to mind. As you know, my certified life coach hat just went boom. And, there's something that can I share some of my thoughts as you were saying that?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the thoughts I had is, we've talked about this before privately, that we're both empathic and we feel the energy around us. And there's a possibility that what was making you feel down was the energy of where you were.
100%.
Could be. Yeah. But we still own it. We don't, I'm not saying that it's everybody else's energy's fault. I'm just saying that sometimes we as empathic people feel the energy, don't even know where it's coming from. And we internalize it because we are there to help everybody. And so we're internalizing it. The second thought that I got was that sometimes when we work, and start ignoring the spirit within us, and we are in a place where we don't have to work, that we are still, sometimes our bodies we don't know how to handle that because we've stopped looking within. And so it's so important. It doesn't matter where you're at in your life, where in your walk. And I thank you so much for sharing your story, because your story is our story. Everybody goes through that in different levels and intensity. And so I would say that, the fact that you were able to become a self-cleaning oven, start looking within yourself and saying, nah, don't need that anymore. Don't need that anymore. And that's why I wrote the 90-day challenge to self-love. Just yesterday, we had Dr. Furman in the classroom, Dr. Joel Furman, and we're going to do a Transformation 20 infection protection. And I sent everybody to my 90-day challenge to self-love private group, because we're going to do this together for 20 days. And by the way, if anybody wants to do the 90-day challenge while we're doing this, because it starts with acknowledging our past. It starts with acknowledging 25 people in our life, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, that have helped create us for who we are. And being able to say thank you, even if we had framed their presence in our life as a negative, part of who they are created our sensitivity. Part of the people in your past who didn't call you when you were depressed, who didn't say anything about, your home breaking down, created the compassionate person you are today. So it's writing this person a love letter, whether you give it to them or not, but in gratitude for the experience, because you're absolutely right.
I can't believe you mentioned that. I got to tell you, sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I want to hear.
It's so weird that you said about sort of going into your past. So right before, I told you 2 months ago, beginning of March is when I moved from New York officially to live here in Jerusalem. And the week before, I found a toy chest that was one of the only things that survived the fire. Okay, that because it was in the garage area, and I hadn't looked at it because I added stuff to it in my high school years. I hadn't looked at it since I was in maybe 11th grade. Haven't looked at it, and it was all stuff from before the fire. And I took it out and I was going through a crazy memory lane, and as I was doing that, it was reminding me of certain people, right? Like you said, some people, like you, whether you're indifferent to them or whether, and it was a very, very amazing cleansing process. I sent out messages to loads of people.
Wow.
This is all before I left. It was the most incredible experience. It was, because it was the first time it really brought me back there in a very severe way. Even reading the writings that I was writing when I was in this very, very depressed state, and the people that I was feeling hurt by, and then writing to them and communicating with them in from a place of real like love and understanding and clarity. It was incredible. It was an incredible experience.
That's wonderful. You know, because here's the deal. Our expectations are what gets us in trouble.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
If we expect anybody to call us, or if we expect anybody to bring us and lift us up, if we expect anybody to feed us, if we expect anybody to make us feel better, that expectation alone will cause so much disappointment. But when that person is me, and I can control the way I love myself, and I can give myself what I need, that's where that abundance starts flowing from. But you know, when we recall certain people in our lives, their energy can fill us too. And part of the reasons why people don't do what we think they should be doing is possibly they're incapable of it because we don't know where they're at that moment. Does that make sense?
At the end of the day, we don't know anybody's story or what's going on. It could be your best friend. It could be your brother. It doesn't matter. You don't know what happens behind closed doors. You don't know what happens within the person's heart and what they're thinking. And so recognizing that and understanding that by coming to understand yourself allows you to really begin to empathize with somebody when maybe the reaction that they had wasn't necessarily what you wanted, because everybody is in their own situation. Everyone is going through their own struggles and their own journey.
Yes.
And, you know, it's a very important thing to remind ourselves of.
Well, you know, I'm going to do this, and I'm declaring it right now, that I'm going to do a meditation video or some form of an exercise video of Ho'oponopono. I don't know if you've heard of Ho'oponopono.
I haven't, no.
Oh my gosh.
What is it?
It's so wonderful. It is, remember how I said we need to be self-cleaning ovens? Okay.
Yeah.
So we recall the story of the Ho'oponopono prayer. It's the Hawaiian prayer I'm not going to go into all of that right now, but the prayer are 4 statements. So you recall something, an event, or maybe something you did or something you didn't do, or maybe a situation that you find yourself in. And you have this conversation through spirit. You say, I'm sorry. That's the first statement. I'm sorry. So if I haven't spoken to you, maybe we had some unkind words, or maybe you haven't been calling me, and I refuse to call you because the only time I ever hear from you is when I call you. And let's say I say, okay, I'm going to end this, but I'm the one who's suffering now because we're still holding it, right? So we have this conversation and this prayer within ourselves, because in Romans 8, it says, even if we cannot articulate how we feel, which you could not articulate how you felt, but during that time of still and quiet, your spirit is groaning. The Romans 8, the groaning of the spirit identifies, that's communication straight to God, your source, that creator. And so you start with, I'm sorry. And this is for yourself. I'm sorry, I find myself in this situation, or I'm sorry I haven't heard from you in a while. I'm sorry that I have not, and you can just fill in the words. What is that I'm sorry about? And you take 100% ownership for that sorry. I am sorry. Even if they did it, I am sorry I'm feeling this way. I'm sorry I allowed it. I'm sorry that this is happening right now. The next statement is, please forgive me. Please forgive me. So even if we didn't have unkind words, maybe it's just something that I'm feeling. Maybe you're happy, don't even know something is wrong. Please forgive me because I'm the one that's carrying this, whatever it is, this is. Please forgive me. Then gratitude. Thank you. Because it's happened. I've asked for forgiveness. It's happened. Thank you. And the last one is, I love you. That series repeated, and you're taking ownership and you're saying, I don't need to rehash the past. I am just going to claim that I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
I love that.
Is so, I'm telling you, things change. People all of a sudden start calling you. People just all of a sudden, and so I don't know the aspect of, maybe it's, more transcending. I don't know, but I want to encourage, anytime you feel that way, whatever comes to your mind, whoever comes to your mind, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And just keep doing it until you just feel that gratitude within you, and move on to the next, because it's not just one. There's a lot of things. And you said that earlier, that you did not share those feelings to protect your family, to be strong for them. You didn't share any of that. And so with that, you said it entraps in your body. You
Exactly.
said those things. So I'm sorry it's in here. Please forgive me for doing this to myself. Thank you. I love you. So you can use those words in whatever capacity you want, but the end result is you start releasing it.
100%.
It is beautiful.
It becomes very toxic, and it really can hurt a person. It's not easy, that's for sure. It's not easy, but being able to, because gratitude really at the end of the day is a sense of acceptance. You're accepting and recognize, we don't see, we're not in the driver's seat. We don't necessarily know where we're heading or how we're heading, but at the end of the day, there has to be that sense of trust. If you have a strong faith-based, also that also helps, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But everybody has their own path. That has been really the way I've gotten through any hardship in my life, because faith plays a big component for me. And when you recognize and realize that, and you have that gratitude, and you realize you don't see everything. I don't know where things are going, but you know what? You have to have a little bit of that trust. What has happened now in the world has forced people to, because you know what it is? You can't control it. You have no idea. What are you going to do next week? I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's changing. And when that's happened, generally, because we're so much we're in control, we feel in control. Okay? We feel so much in control. And suddenly that control is being really taken away from us. And we recognize, oh, maybe we haven't been in control this whole time.
It's an illusion, right?
You have to be able to let go. And
Yes.
when you let go, magic happens. Because you're allowing it to happen. If you believe that you're in control, then you see this way. You have a destination. You want to get there, you're this way. Now, there could be good and there's bad to that. Why? It's good to have a destination because it allows you to be focused. But don't fool yourself into thinking that everything that you plan is going to happen right on time. It's important to also be flexible. You need to be able to be flexible because things are going to come that you didn't expect for them to come. And if you still want to get there, you'll still get to that destination. But you have to open up your viewpoint a little bit and recognize that you can't always be in control. Things are going to come about. And so it's the combination of being flexible, but also having that focus and knowing how to balance the two. That's very, very important. I feel that that's something that we've been sort of pushed into understanding and experiencing.
Yes, absolutely. And I love our conversations because they start with one direction, which we want to talk about, now that we're in isolation. And, isn't it beautiful? And I'm not saying, and I'm not downplaying the fact that you were not feeling well and we're going through this emotional cleanse process in your home. But isn't it nice that you're experiencing it so close that it's still so raw within you that we can shift now and talk about the world, and creating this communication, this contact, this reconnection when we're told, fear someone who's healthy, don't go near them, don't give them a hug because they have germs. How has this shifted your platform? How have you changed at all?
That's a great question. So when things first started getting very bad, there was a week where I didn't even know. I couldn't sleep well. It was really bothering me, knowing that there's so much pain, knowing that there's so much suffering. And then I had to tell myself, okay, Orly, stop. It's time to accept it. This is what it is. This is what is going on. How can you help to bring hope and joy and positivity into the world to people right now when they need it most? The past couple of months since I got here have been amongst, I would say, the most productive. The amount of energy, I don't even know where it came from, but it's a crazy energy to want to help bring people together. And so some of the things that I've been doing now with Life Vest Inside, for example, there is a global platform as it is. I mean, people are all over the world. And so I said, okay, how can we connect all those people digitally? And so I started working on various digital global collaborations, video collaborations. The first of which I shared with you, it was to the song Heal the World, which was one of my all-time favorite songs ever since I was a kid, where each person received a lyric from the song to create and hold up. And we had people sharing their messages of healing for the world. It's a really beautiful video. I couldn't believe how just well accepted it was. And that led to a bunch of other collaborations. We're releasing another one coming this week, which was like a sort of a dance collaboration to the song We're All in This Together. We have another collaboration coming out hopefully in the next 2 weeks. And it's been amazing connecting with people in this kind of way and giving them a way to do something small, but be able to share hope. The idea is, yes, there is negativity going on. You can't put your head in the sand. You can't say, there are people dying, there are people suffering. It's very true. But what we have to see is also the beauty of humanity that is sprouting from every single corner. And it's up to you what your reality becomes based on how you're going to look, where you're going to look. So I'll give you an example. When I first got here, okay, just a month ago was the holiday of Passover. All right. Now, the holiday of Passover, just like all holidays, family comes together. Yeah. Usually I'm home. I was supposed to be back in New York. I was going to be flying back. We have 45 people that come to my home on Passover. You're just completely surrounded by family. And suddenly the government closed everything down. You couldn't go to family. You couldn't even drive there. You were not allowed. You had to stay in your home with the people that you're in your home. That was it. There wasn't a car on the street. You couldn't. And here, a holiday that generally is filled with song and laughter and people, you're by yourself. Yeah. So what did someone decide to do? Here's the simple things that we could do. They said at 8:30 p.m., everyone is going to go to their windows or their balconies. For the holiday Passover, there is a book called the Haggadah. It's basically the prayer book. And there are many songs within this book. They said everyone is going to sing this specific song out from their windows and their balconies so that anyone that is eating alone or that is home, doesn't have their family, is going to feel that they're not alone. Incredible what took place. There are videos from Tel Aviv of you have these buildings. There was one guy in the street that was screaming the praise and everyone was chanting it back. And you have singing. Amazing. Let me ask you, when else could something like this happen in the world that people are putting a pause and connecting? Actually, even though we're connecting digitally, we're connecting more even in a specific sense. We're actually looking up. We're seeing more, even though we cannot give a physical hug to people, just like how people were on their balconies cheering for all the health workers. And so there are things that you can do, and they don't have to be larger than life. Simply sending a message to check up on somebody, calling people you haven't spoken to a long time, Suddenly I'm getting phone calls from people I haven't spoken to. I'm calling people I haven't spoken to. You start recognizing the things that actually matter, and the things that don't matter fall by the wayside. But each of us have the opportunity to engage in these small acts of loving kindness, because what happens is, think about it like this. If one of your senses goes out, God forbid somebody's sense goes out, what do they say? The other senses are heightened. Well, which sense has gone out? The sense of touch, that feeling of being able to be hugged. But you know what sense has become really heightened?
Which
the
one?
sense of sight, to see. We have the ability to then see people even more, and to be able to connect to them in a different kind of way. We look up from the work, this work, and we engage in the work of the heart, even with our families. Suddenly having people having to be home with all their family, they're being able to spend time together that they wouldn't necessarily be able to spend. And the question is, what do you want to make of this experience? Because we are in it and we can't change it, and it's in none of our powers. And this is something that affects everyone. It knows nothing of discrimination or race or color or religion. It's affecting everybody. How can that help us to connect in a deeper way? And so that's some of the stuff that I've been doing, has been all focused on these digital global collaborations. We have over 100 people signing up for each one of these. They're really amazing, amazing collaborations. One of the other things that I've been focusing on, in addition, is an app that I developed that was released not long ago, called Abraham's Legacy. This is something separate, and it's a whole other passion of mine. I developed it in memory of my grandfather, who passed away 5 years ago. And it took place, it's based on the Book of Psalms. It's a social network for prayer that connects the global world through prayer. What better time than right now? And the reason it came about is that when my grandfather fell and broke his hip 5 years ago, that action led to many different other complications where months later he passed. And when he first fell, the family took charge, and we took the Book of Psalms, which is known as a book of healing, and we all split it up. You take that chapter, you take that chapter, you take that, to finish it every day. And I was very concerned that people weren't going to read their chapter every day. I didn't want to be a stickler and being annoying. Even if they didn't read, they're not likely to tell me, because they're going to feel guilty. And I was nervous, because when someone's life is in the balance, those things can really make a difference.
Sure.
And so I took upon myself personally, I was reading the full Book of Psalms every day for months. And this idea of Abraham's Legacy came to me in a dream. I know it sounds weird, but most of the ideas for Kindness Boomerang, for life, came to me in this. And I got up and I'm like, I have to do this. I have no idea how, but I knew I had to. And I created this platform that got released this past October for iOS and Android in 4 languages, English, Hebrew, Spanish, and French, with more languages hopefully being added, that allows people to collectively complete the Book of Psalms, potentially thousands of times a day with the global world. All you do, you just tap when you have a moment to pray or to read, and it generates for you the next chapter. So if the global count is up to chapter 50 and you click, you get 51. The next guy gets 52, and it knows whether you've read or not, and keeps track in real time. You could see real-time stats of people reading, countries reading, books completed, and chapters read, and even giving the option to create your own individual private prayer circle where you can chat with members and give them updates on the person that you're praying for. But it connects people in a really powerful way, because there's so many people that are sick and that need healing. And this gives a sense of hope to people. So I was working on creating these digital events, virtual events, music events that combine song and prayer. We have a musician that would perform, and then we would, all be on the app and reading together. We're with one of the events in a matter of a short time span. Okay, 22 countries were on, and over 22 books were completed in just moments. It was really powerful.
Is this through Abraham's Legacy? I mean, where can we, so if we go to Abraham's Legacy, are we alerted? Because I have that app. So like, how do we, okay, so lifebestinside.com is where you can find Orly. And of course, this is a nonprofit organization. And so if you want to help Life Best Inside and the work that that Orly is doing, please go there. There's an event going on June 21st, and that's for
Legacy.
Abraham's Legacy. So if we want to be involved in this event.
Very simple. All you need to do, you can download the app from iOS or Android. You just search Abraham's Legacy, or you can go to abrahamslegacy.com and you can download it from there. You'll be able to, there's tutorial videos that explain to you. We have a YouTube channel with loads of tutorial videos as well that explain to you how to utilize the app, how to maximize it. You could share it with friends and family. And then you'll also receive a notification before the day of the event. We're going to have various musicians that are going to be performing within a 24-hour period. People can select time slots, 15-minute time slots to be reading. And we'll also have different lectures that are going to go on throughout the 24-hour period. It's on my grandfather's birthday as a tribute to him and his memory. And this is a complete, this project is completely nonprofit. It's really, I created just as a gift to the world. And you can even sponsor a chapter if you wanted to dedicate or in memory of a loved one. But once you download the app, you'll have the information there. And you can also shoot me an email to info@abrahamslegacy.com. That's for Abraham's Legacy. And then for LifeFest, the same info@lifefestinside.com. There are loads of ways to get involved in signing up for our Daily Kind, which is like a daily newsletter that gives you a way to spin the world in the positive way. An act of kindness, a positive affirmation, an inspirational quote, and a kindness media, something positive happening somewhere in the world. And you can sign up for that right on the LifeFest Inside website where it says sign up.
Wonderful, wonderful. And, Orly and I were talking about this before we came on the air, that if you want to know what's going on, you need to subscribe to either Abraham Legacy or subscribe to LifeFest Inside, and it'll direct you just like, and I'm just going to, thank my sponsors, ask you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, because we're being censored by YouTube and Facebook. And if we don't pay a certain thing or a certain amount, and it's like you're hidden. And so the best way to rise above it is to go directly to the source. And so I'm asking you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com. Please become a subscriber. While you're there, like us on Facebook and YouTube, and subscribe on YouTube. That way you get a notification. But here's the thing. I've moved on to also add BitChute. That's BITCHUTE.com. And they promise not to censor you. And so I started uploading my classes onto BitChute so that you have another place. Well, the way to stay connected, and you'll know if you go to Facebook, if you don't see me, if you don't see, then you'll know where to find me at whenyouneedafriend.com, and where to find the classes on bitchute.com. So that's just for the future, just in case, because we are responsible, just like, if you subscribe to LifeFest Inside or Abraham's Legacy. So while you're there, I'm asking that you check out my sponsors. You'll get the 90-day, once you subscribe, by the way, you get the 90-day challenge to self-love ebook and other gifts. And so also check out my sponsors, because without my sponsors, there would be no class. There's be no classroom. So, and I know that with Abraham's Legacy, we're going to talk about Orly's sponsors as well. Sponsors like NORI, which stands for Nutritional Oncology Research Institute. This is for those of you who know somebody or maybe are looking at a cancer diagnosis. This is a place to look at food in a different way. Plus they have NORI, CBD and nutraceuticals as well. And that's to be, we'll add some more of that. Keep Me Safe Organics. We're going to be doing a virtual makeover next Thursday. For those of you who love Keep Me Safe Organics beauty products, all organic, you also get 10% off when you purchase Keep Me Safe Organics on my whenyouneedafriend.com website. First Alternative Care is so important, especially nowadays. It's telemedicine, 24/7 non-urgent care. It has family practice, dermatology, and 3 hours a year of behavioral health counseling for the entire household for $35. We also have Live Longer Medical, and of course my affiliates, Ground Therapy and Brain Tap. When you Brain Tap, Ground Therapy, anytime you go to my affiliates page and you buy or if you get the 15-day trial for Brain Tap, which helps rewrite the program in your brain, all those I'm not enough talk, it helps rewrite the program. And you can get a free trial with Brain Tap, and you don't even have to give any information other than your name and your email. And then you'll get that 15-day trial. You can use your own headset. You don't even have to buy their headset. So those are different ways that if you do, send me an email, because I want to be able to thank you. And that way, you know that when you're making that purchase for yourself, it's also helping the classroom. And so figure out ways that you can help my sponsors like they are helping the class. And finally, you, the enrolled student, can help out as well. My teacher's pets. Make sure that you figure out ways that you can help the classroom, whether it's your time, your talent, or your treasure. So there's so many different ways that we can help the classroom grow. I ask that you consider that, and I thank you. So today we have Orly Wahba from Jerusalem, of all places, a wonderful place to be, and how this is how wonderful the internet can be. We can connect, Orly, and feel that connection. Even if we're not even face to face, we can feel each other. I feel your pain and I feel your joy. And it's always great when you're here in the classroom to share. Now, you do have an event, like I said, on the 21st, and you have sponsors that are willing to help. Can you share a little bit about them?
Yes. So basically what this is, it's a matching grant. So we have 4 sponsors that are going to be contributing $5,000 each. And on that day, the way it works, okay, is that if any dollar that you give, let's say you give a donation of $25, it's matched by 4 other donors that are giving $25 to match your $25.
Wow.
And so your impact is being, quadrupled in such a tremendous way, during that time of the campaign. Mm-hmm. One of the sponsors is Schusterman. I'm actually a member of a group called ROI, which are basically a group of change makers throughout the world that are looking to bring positive change to the world. And they provide grants of this nature. And I just recently received the grant.
Oh,
and thank you so much. There are other sponsors as well. Some of them are anonymous sponsors. And so on that day, you have the ability to really quadruple your impact on the actual world, and also be a part of this amazing app in terms of it growing. But more than that, you can also dedicate it or put it in honor and memory of someone that you know of that needs those prayers, so that we can bring even more features. There's a whole load of stuff that we're looking to incorporate into this app in terms of mindfulness and prayer and connection. Really exciting. And you also have the opportunity to take part in all of the fun things that are going to happen that day, like the concerts and the classes.
So mark your calendars. That's wonderful. Okay. So with that, your goal is to empower and help the world unite through kindness. That is your mission. And so with people that are feeling right now disconnected, you had given some, powerless, maybe they feel powerless. One of the things you said earlier was acceptance. Sometimes we struggle, and that moment that we're struggling, we're in our ego. We're in that, and I can't accept what is. And so today, I'm so grateful to you, Orly, that you have once again reminded us of the importance of acceptance of what is, and actually being the change. Any final words before we end our podcast, which, by the way, for those of you who are listening on podcast, please join us on the live program as well on YouTube and Facebook. And usually we have a conversation afterwards with the teachers' pets as well. Any final words of wisdom before we go?
I just want to say that I know that it seems like we're not going to get over this phase, that it's so crazy what's happening right now, but we will overcome, and we will overcome this together. Think of one thing. If there's any takeaway, think of one thing or one person that you can reach out to. Again, we're not doing that physically, but digitally, that you can reach out to and check up on. And I can tell you that simply doing that and engaging in that kind of conversation is going to make you feel so much better, because we all have something that we can give. So it's time to live your best self and to get out there, open your heart. You never know what can come out as a result of it.
Oh, I love it. And you talked about the step between, the thought and, and the heart. And they say that that's the hardest step is 15 inches, which is from the head to the heart. And so I want to encourage all of us to have that bravery, to be brave enough to take that
Yeah.
20 seconds of courage that it takes to just take that first step so that you can start living the life of your dreams. And so I want to encourage you to go to the 90-day challenge that we're going to be doing through with Dr. Furman. So join the private group as well and help support Orly Wahba with Life Vest Inside and Abraham's Legacy. So many ways that we can be helpful and kind. And so thank you so much, Orly, for everything that you do to make the world a better place. I'm looking forward to, I don't know if you have a heart out, but I'm looking forward to maybe having a little bit of it. For those of you who have any questions, type in a Q as you always can and ask your questions. Please remember, this is a place where you can come to when you need a friend. And we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Orly Wahba wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
I have that disclaimer because it's so important that we act on our own and to research and to do all these things. And I'm grateful to you, Orly, because you've taken a step beyond what was expected, what you thought your life would be. And if you would have thought, because going back, and I've shared this before, and I shared this in the classroom, that the person who is speaking to you today is not the person who started 9 years ago when I did the first class or the first show, the Lillian McDermott radio show on the radio. Never in a million years that I think that the show would be my lifesaver. It's changed me completely. What about you, Orly? What would you say you are today compared to the person who started? What's different?
Well, there's certain aspects that really haven't changed, and I hope that they don't change, because that's the reason why I started. My why has not changed, and it's always important to remind myself of that. Otherwise, you can lose sight of what's really important, and I hope I never do. But just in turn, I've learned so much over these past 9 years starting this. So much mistakes that were made, but those mistakes were necessary in order to prevent me from making bigger mistakes. Right?
Yeah.
It's better to have these small little, potholes in the road than one of these really big ones. And when you have the small little potholes in the road, it prepares you for when something big, you can help steer yourself clear of any, really big challenge. But there have been ups, there have been downs. I feel like even though my why is the same, it's even stronger because I've come up to so many obstacles or people discouraging me, negative things that have come my way. And the fact that I'm still able to be here and to keep on going, that means that this is not something I'm ever going to leave. This is a part of me. Mm-hmm. This is not a job, this is not even a job. I'm a full-time volunteer, but it's so much a part of me. And I'm very grateful for all of the good and the seemingly bad lesson, like the seemingly bad experiences, because they were seemingly bad, even though I didn't know it at the time, But yeah.
Well, that's great, to look, and I always say that we must go back. We must go back and explore, and not to go back to wallow in it, but to see the blessings. You talked about the beauty of humanity. And so I want to acknowledge Victoria, Camilla, and Paris, who are the teachers' pets in the classroom today. For those of you who are watching, if you don't put a like, or if you don't, we don't even know that you've been in the classroom. So I want to encourage all of you to send love, because this is, I don't know about you, Orly, but those little hearts and those likes and those shares, and that's like currency. That's like a hug.
It is, because it just makes, you know what it is, I'll tell you, it makes you feel that you are impacting somebody. So whether it's the like or the heart, whatever, or maybe sending a message afterwards to let you know, what keeps me going is knowing that I'm impacting people. I get these emails from someone out of nowhere telling me, my goodness, this has made such an impact. It gives me an energy. It's like getting a shot of energy that I can go for the longest time, just because of that positive feedback, because you want to know that you're making a difference and that you're making an impact. And the truth of the matter is, at the end of the day, even if you're impacting one person, that's huge, because one person doesn't remain one person. One person remains many people. But I would definitely recommend and acknowledge and encourage everybody to give that positive feedback to people. Positive feedback is important. Oftentimes we run to give negative feedback, right?
That's right.
We don't like something with negative feedback. But positive feedback is
drawn to that. I'm sorry. Aren't we so drawn to that? There could be 99 people in a room that absolutely love you, and one person who cannot stand the sight of you. Who do we want to collect? The one person who cannot stand the sight. They cannot stand the light. They cannot stand. And, you know, part of the shift in me was to
shifting that.
To shift out of what I don't have, what I don't want, and focus on what I want. And then do the ho'oponopono on the person who doesn't like me.
Because remember, the person that acts negatively towards us or says negative things it's not an indication of you. It's just something to do with them. That's their own, they might be going through their own experience. But it's hard, because we are people at the end of the day. We're humans, like, the song, but I'm only human. And I believe it's true. I believe when I fall down, I'm also, everybody is a human being. We all feel, and you know what? Yeah. Even though we know, yes, focus on the good, but it's hard, but it's important to make that shift within ourselves, to look for the good, to look at those that are, because there's always going to be naysayers. And it's not because they're mean or they're bad. It just, everybody has a different experience. So some people are going to connect. Let's say some people connect with me. Some people won't necessarily connect with me. That's all right. That's okay. They're going to connect with someone else. You know what I'm saying? You can't get you can't impact everyone, but you can impact someone. And as long as you can impact someone, then that means you're doing what you need to do.
Yeah. You've been singing "I'm Only Human." That song. I was interviewing, speaking a conversation in the class with Jason Stevenson, who's huge meditation. If you look up Jason Stevenson meditation, he's got like 1 million followers, and so he and I were having this conversation about being calm in a world full of chaos and all this stuff. And so the song that I was watching the news, I was listening, and the song that came to mind, and everybody started writing the lyrics on it. I don't know if you remember "Once Tin Soldier Rides Away," and I started, I was like, go ahead and hate your neighbor, go ahead and cheat a friend, do it in the name of
I don't know
heaven.
this.
Oh, you don't know this one?
No, you got to send it to me.
Oh gosh, I posted it in there, and it's all about lying and cheating in the name of heaven and justifying it, and then it goes in, and there won't be any trumpets blowing on the judgment day, on the bloody morning after one tin soldier rides away. And it's about a group of people that wanted the treasure in the mountain. The royalty was on top of the mountain, and they just wanted that treasure. And they sent a message up the hill to say, we want this treasure. And the kingdom said, we'll share it with you, with all our people. But, they said, like, that's not enough. We're going to kill them. We're going to fight them. And then when they rolled the stone over, it says peace on earth. That's all it said. I'll send you the song.
You gotta send me the song. I gotta check it out.
Yeah, it's absolutely, that's the song that's been going through my mind. And that's what I'm thinking, we have got to take ownership of our feelings and emotion, that we get to do whatever we need to do to feel how we want to feel, regardless of how that one person or those 20 people don't feel. And that's why that ho'oponopono is that you can recall these people and one by one release them in gratitude. One by one release them in gratitude. And if do you have a minute? I want to read some of the things that I've been saying. Okay, so I want to thank all the teachers' pets. Today's an hour later than we normally are on Thursday. So let me scroll back and see. I want to say thank you to all who have made comments, and my mouse is possessed here. There we go. There we go. Okay, so I had already acknowledged Victoria and Camilla and Paris. And so Camilla said, thank you for this program. What do you suggest we do or say to lift our teens? Mine are well, but the uncertainties with school are wearing on them. That's true. What do you suggest as a teacher and 100%. As someone?
I tell you, it's definitely not easy what's going on, and depending on where you are and how difficult the situation is. But really, it's giving them a place where they know, a safe place where they know that they can open up to you, and letting them know that you also don't know, okay? And being able to share with them, having them be able to feel like there's a safety zone for them to share, just sharing so that they don't keep those emotions inside is very important, because that can really, really harm them in the long run. So it's giving them that space, and even creating small things within your home. For example, maybe every morning while you're sitting to breakfast, usually it's a good idea when you're sitting for meals, because then you're together, whether it's breakfast or lunch or dinner, where each person shares something that they're grateful for. Something that they're grateful for. Because first of all, that helps them to shift their perception. Yes, they can't go out maybe. Yes, they can't be with their friends. Yes, they don't have maybe graduation for my niece was supposed to graduate, my nephew from high school and from middle school. All the emotions that come with that, having them share, or each day everybody sharing something that they're grateful for, is a great way to put the focus on what's actually important. I'm not saying it's going to make everything else better, but again, this idea of communication, that's what this entire pandemic is all about. It's about actual communication with the people that are closest to you in your life. Because sometimes it's easiest to do kindness with people that we don't know. Well, right now we're stuck home. It's time to do kindness with the people that we do know in our home, and to see them and to hear them and to give them a sounding board. So that's a small idea of something that you can do to make them feel, to sort of bring that into their life.
You know, I've seen a lot of school districts in Florida. I can only speak of the school district that my children and grandchildren are involved in. And the principals have placed signs, and the teachers have placed signs in front of the students' classrooms saying, great job, you're a great kid, or whatever it is. You know, I think this is a time that we are being called to step out of our comfort zone and actually say, how can I create this abundance of love and kindness? And by the way, I want to go back to the lifebestinside.com. They have a shop there where they have random act of kindness cards. They have, and of course the book, I have the smaller version, the pocket version, but it's called Kindness Boomerang by Orly Wahba. And every day there's a kindness, there's a chapter, there's an act, a quote. Maybe I should read something. Do you want to read something for today, or do you have time, or do you need to go?
Yeah, let's do that. Today is the 21st.
21st of May.
I'm going to read what today's act is.
That's the challenge for everybody, you teachers' pets.
And we're going to likely, adjust it fitting to because of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And the act goes as follows: give the right of way to a pedestrian. And the quote by Plato: good actions give strength to ourselves and inspire good actions in others. And the reflection: kindness is something we are all aware of, but when we find ourselves in a rush or under pressure, we often close an eye to what we know to be the kind thing to do. It's precisely the moments when we embrace kindness instead of pursuing our immediate needs that set us apart from the rest. Stay true to your heart. And instead of honking your horn, let kindness guide you. Think of the ripple of possibilities that can emerge from being a bit more mindful. So this one is talking about giving the right of way to a pedestrian when you're driving. May or may not be relevant to people depending on where they are currently right now. The idea is that when you do something, it allows other people to, it inspires them and allows them to sort of follow suit. So you may not be out there right now being able to give the right of way to pedestrian, but you can take it in another way. Giving the right of way, what does that mean? It means that you see somebody and that you acknowledge and you're allowing them to go ahead of you. You're stopping. That might be, you could see that as potentially stopping and listening, because that's really what we're doing. That's what it is when you give the right of way. You're stopping, you're seeing, and you're listening to what somebody else's energy is. Maybe they are really in a rush and you're allowing them to go. We can do that within our homes when we're talking to our children or to our spouse, that instead of being rushed or, wanting to get what you want to say out, that you stop and you listen and you give them the right of way to express first. Hearing people, not just hearing, but really listening to people is very important. And we can connect that to this specific act. So regardless of where you are, you can incorporate that act into your life.
Yeah. And you can also give someone the benefit of the doubt when you stop.
100%. Benefit of the doubt is a big thing, big thing.
Yeah.
And that's whether the person is in your own home or whether it might be somebody that you're communicating with or you've lost touch with, to be able to give that benefit of the doubt and to maybe put yourselves out there and take a chance. It may not turn out the way you want it to. That person may not be ready to talk, but that's okay. The exercise isn't for them. The exercise is for you.
Yeah.
So
anytime I find myself out loud saying, who do they think they are? And then all of a sudden I go, who do I think I am? So it's like, so sometimes we just need to turn things around because we are the only thing we can truly, and I say control is an illusion, but at least we can manage ourselves and manage how I feel. And so, giving people the benefit of the doubt is always a good thing. And I'm always grateful. I have this in a very special place so that every guest that comes into my home is able to see this book. And so
that's so nice.
Thank you. And they also have cards at Life Best Inside, catching kindness. So, instead of being challenged to do something, you can be on the lookout, because it's amazing what you see when you're looking for it. If you're looking for negativity, you will find it. But when you're looking for kindness, you will find it. And then you'll have a little card. Those cards are so cute. It's hard for me to give them out.
They are my favorite. You give it to somebody when you see them doing an act of kindness for someone else, which acknowledges what they're doing so that they're more likely to make better choices. And what it does for you is it trains you to start seeing the good as opposed to seeing the negativity. Yeah. So that's, and that draws more positivity into your life and more things to see that are positive. So it's a great resource.
Yeah, it just dawned on me. You should be planning. I mean, your plans for kindness, the Dance for Kindness 2020.
It's happening now. Yes, it's happening. I am in the process. What I'm doing is I am planning Dance for Kindness as though everything is going to clear up.
Yeah.
But exactly move forward. But I'm also preparing for if it doesn't. And I did a small exercise with that because I told you, one of the digital collaborations was to the song We're All in This Together from High School Musical, one of my favorites. And everybody got a small portion to do the dance to, and then they sent it in. And we are putting this out hopefully within the next few days, the video. It's really awesome. I did that for two reasons. Number one, because I think it's just a great activity, and it brought people together and dancing, even though things are tough. But at the same time, it also gave me an opportunity to see how we could potentially move this to be a digital event. So irregardless, the event is going to happen on World Kindness Day, whether it might be from the privacy of your own home where you'll dance, or you'll tune into kindness talks or panels or workshops, or whether you're physically in a space. And I think it's going to really be different for different locations, or it may be that everyone is really sort of home. We don't know. That's the crazy. We don't know. So
well, I'm very positive in thinking that this is all going to become very clear of what's happening, and people
Yeah.
will. So what day is it? November what?
It's going to be on November 8th, and you can learn more by going to danceforkindness.com. Generally, right about now, in another couple of weeks, I would be opening up group leader registration where people can register to become group leaders and lead their city. I'm sort of holding off on that. I don't know if I should or shouldn't. So I may end up posting that towards the end of June, but we'll see. Really, it's sort of up in the air. I'm right now just putting all of the pieces in place so that it will be prepared once we know more.
Okay, well, it sounds wonderful. And so let me look down. I say, Myrna, good morning, Myrna. Thank you for joining us. And Victoria is saying, yes, it does take one person. And sing it, Lily. I love your voice.
Classic.
Well, thank you. I start with it, and I thought, okay, can I sing this without getting have to pay royalties? So it's like, oh, well, let me just like change it a little bit. But anyway, Orly Wahba, you're always such a breath of fresh air. You have a way of coming from a place of abundance. I love that you're in a place of abundance today, and that whatever happens in the past, that you're able to use it as a tool to continue to promote and motivate you instead of a weapon that keeps you small. So you are just a walking testimony of how we could all be in our own way. I love that analogy of the suitcase. That is just so, if any of you missed that, she talked about the suitcase and packing our own suitcase when it comes to comparison. So check out the replay if you missed out on it. For now, any last words before we say goodbye?
I just want to thank you so much for doing what you do, because I need you to know that you are inspiring so many people, irregardless if you know it or you don't know it. You're making an impact, and for that, I'm very, very, very grateful, and grateful that you considered me to be a friend. So
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Orly. And we will say goodbye on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for joining us today. Remember to sign up. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing the giveaway for the PDF for Dr. Furman. And I'm going to be checking all of you who want to do the 90-day challenge with me, or the 20 days with me, and also join the 90-day challenge. So stay tuned for tomorrow when I announced the 5 winners. So keep sending it in, telling people that this book giveaway is happening, and let's do this. Let's do the Nutritarian 20 and to improve our immune system so that we're protected by this invisible enemy.